guys, I'm on for Podcast Spot and welcome to week 34 of the Premier League review. If you want to know the series, what we do is we take a look at the past set of Premier League results, we take a look at the Premier League table, and we finish off by looking at the top goal scorers. So here is the past set of Premier League results. These games were played on Saturday the 14th, Sunday the 15th, and Monday the 16th of April 2018. Also next to the games are their timed in this video, so if you want to hear about a specific match, just got the time next to the game and you'll skip out all the other crap. But without further ado, let's get into our first match. We start with Tottenham versus Manchester City. Man City took a lead in the 22nd minute when Gabriel Jesus gave the league leaders the lead at Wembley. Vincent Kompany got his first league assist since 2014 as he played a lovely ball over the top to Jesus. The Brazilian sprinted past Davinson Sanchez, brought the ball down and put it away past Hugo Lloris. And Man City got the perfect time to double their lead 2 minutes later when they were given a penalty after Raheem Sterling was brought down by Hugo Lloris and the ref pointed to the spot. But there is a bit of controversy in this as the foul was actually outside of the box, just outside of the box, but outside the box nonetheless. And the momentum and speed of Sterling sent him into the box, but that's not a penalty. Man City will take it anyway, so it's too late to go back now. Ilkay Gundogan stepped up to take it and he sent the wrist the wrong way and put the ball in the right corner via the post. But Tottenham got to go back just before half time when Christian Eriksen got his 10th goal of the season. Harry Kane slipped it through to Eriksen and the midfielder was extremely lucky as his initial shot was blocked by a sliding Emerick Laporte, but the ball bounced off of the defender, back off of Eriksen and behind Ederson and into the back of the net. But Man City regained their 2-goal lead in the 72nd minute when Raheem Sterling got the goal. Just a minute earlier he missed an absolute sit after dillying about on the ball when there was no need for it. Just smash it, Sterling! But that's basically what he did here as Gabriel Jesus' strike takes a massive deflection which makes it quite hard for Hugo Lloris, but he did well to save it, but he just palmed it into the path of Sterling who hit it first time high into the net. And that's how the game ended, an impressive display from the Man City players as they picked up the win after a difficult week. And because of Man United's shock loss against West Brom on Sunday, Manchester City are officially Premier League champions. Thoroughly deserve it. They've been the best side all season. They're the best team in England right now. And after Pep's arguably disappointing debut season last year, he's came back this season, pretty much walked the league, as Manchester City can now officially say they are Premier League champions for the third time. And we went to Crystal Palace versus Brighton. Palace took the lead in this M23 derby only 5 minutes into the match through Wilfried Zaha. Terrible defending from Brighton as Luka Milivojevic played a corner short to Ruben Loftus-Cheek. Loftus-Cheek gave it back to Milivojevic and not one Brighton defender came to close him down as he just strolled into the penalty area, hit a low shot. Matt Ryan does get down to save the effort, but there's nothing he could do about the rebound as Zaha bundled it home from basically on the goal line. And Palace doubled their lead just under 10 minutes later as James Tompkins got the goal. Really scruffy goal this one, as this one came from a corner as well, and Brighton just couldn't get the ball clear. Shot after shot after shot came in, but each of them was blocked. But eventually James Tompkins hits an effort that snuck through the legs of Matty Ryan and into the back of the net. But Brighton would get away back into the match 5 minutes later when Glenn Murray got a goal against his former club. Like the other two, this came from a corner as well, as an unmarked Lewis Dunk headed it towards goal. It looked like it was going in, but Glenn Murray was basically on the goal line and he hooked his volley home via the underside of the bar. But Palace restored their 2-goal lead in the 25th minute when Wilfried Zaha got his second of the match. This one didn't come from a corner, thank God, but it did come from a cross as Luka Milivojevic put a lovely ball into the box towards the back post of Zaha and he rose high to nod into the back of the net. Yes, Wilfried Zaha scored a header. What is life? But Brighton would reduce the deficit to 1 yet again 10 minutes later when Jose Izquierdo got the goal. Lovely threaded pass by Jurgen Locadia behind Joel Ward, who just doesn't have the pace to keep up with Izquierdo. The Colombian drives into the penalty area and curled his effort into the bottom right corner. And that's how the game ended. It was all done in the first half, and what an incredible first 45 it was. Brighton did battle hard in the second half to try and push for the equaliser, but they just couldn't find the net. Murray had a perfect chance to grab a point for Brighton right at the final whistle, but he scuffed it, and he'll probably still be thinking about that miss now. Excellent game though, but a goal from Tompkins and a brace from Zaha all in the first half was enough to pick up a win that puts Palace further away from the drop. And we move on to Southampton versus Chelsea. Southampton took the lead in the 20th minute through Dusan Tadic. Pierre Højbjerg slid it through to Ryan Bertrand on the left hand side just inside the Chelsea half, and the fullback sprints all the way to the byline, cuts inside, pulls it back in the middle for Tadic who turned it home. And Southampton doubled their lead in the 60th minute when Jan Bednarik got a goal on his Premier League debut. It came for a free kick that James Ward-Prowse swung in towards the back post. Gary Cahill completely misses it and sneaking in behind him was Bednarik who guided it past Courtois. But Chelsea got to go back 10 minutes later when super sub Olivier Giroud got his first Premier League goal for Chelsea. It came from a quick free kick for the Blues as it was tapped to Marcus Alonso who swung in a lovely ball from the left hand side. Giroud got in front of his man and powered his header into the bottom corner. And Chelsea levelled the game up 5 minutes later when Eden Hazard got the equaliser. Started with Willian who was simply quicker than his marker and cut the ball back across the box from the left hand side. It fell to Hazard in some space and the Belgian lasted the shot past McCarthy. And would you believe Chelsea completed the comeback 4 minutes later when Olivier Giroud got another goal to make it 3-2 to the visitors. Another free kick that was taken short by Chelsea as Willian gave it to Hazard. His cross runs across the box, but Andres Christensen does keep it alive. It was pinballing around the box before falling to Giroud, who put it home on the volley. And that is how the game ended. A horrible 10 minutes for the home side saw them being on their way to the biggest win of their season, and suddenly it's another sickening loss to add to the pile. Southampton were the better side in the first half as Chelsea were just really poor, especially in the final third. Alvaro Morata yet again showing why people call him a fraud, as he had a couple of good chances, but he missed them. It just, yuck. Chelsea were extremely lucky not to be reduced to 10 men in the first half, as Marcos Alonso should have been sent off after a horrible tackle on Shane Long, and somehow Mike Dean didn't do anything. Seriously though, how is this man a qualified referee? Like, the ball was nowhere near Shane Long, and he just came in, stood up, and just basically stomped on the back of his shin. It was horrible. That's a red. That's a straight red, that. And what makes it worse is that Alonso was the man who got the assist for the first Chelsea goal. Southampton will be furious with Mike Dean, and they have every right to be, but 2 goals from the Premier League super sub sees Chelsea pick up the win. And we move on to Liverpool versus Bournemouth. Liverpool took the lead early on in the match as only 5 minutes in. Sadio Mane gave them the lead. Jordan Henderson with the assist as he played a beautiful cross into the box to Mane on the penalty spot. His header was initially saved, but Begovic couldn't hold on, and Mane reacted quickest to prod the rebound home. And Liverpool doubled their lead in the 70th minute when Mohamed Salah got his 30th league goal of the season. World-class cross from Trent Alexander-Arnold from deep, as his cross was perfectly weighted onto the running head of Salah. He doesn't even look, he just knows what he's doing as he heads the ball over Begovic and into the back of the net, and that was his 40th goal in all competitions, and he's the first player to get 40 goals in a season for Liverpool since Sir Ian Rush. And Liverpool made it 3-0 in the 90th minute where Roberto Firmino got the goal. Quick counter from the Reds, and Bobby just checks his run as Oxlade-Chamberlain held off the pass before finding Bobby just inside the box. He takes a touch before firing it low through the legs of a defender and into the bottom corner. And that's how the game ended. Quite a comfortable win in the end for Liverpool as they dominated Bournemouth in the first half and for most of the second, apart from a 5-minute spell where Bournemouth looked like they were going to get a goal, but they just couldn't break the Liverpool defence. Salah is also only 1 goal away from equalling the record of most Premier League goals in a season, and he's still got 4 games to do it. And in the week where Harry Kane stole a goal from his teammate, Salah proved that he doesn't have to do that, as he bagged his 30th league goal of the season in an easy win for Liverpool. And we move on to Newcastle versus Arsenal. Arsenal took the lead in the 13th minute when Alexandre Lacazette put the Gunners ahead. It started with a great ball over the top of the Newcastle defence by Shkodran Mustafi out wide to Pierre Aubameyang. He put the ball in the box, and their running in was Lacazette, who volleyed home from close range at the back post. But Newcastle levelled the game up 15 minutes later when Ayoze Perez got the goal. Lovely ball over the top by Jonjo Shelvey, who did the same thing moments earlier, but that one was dealt with by Mustafi, but not this one as Gale brings it down. He was forced to go out wide to DeAndre Yedlin, but DeAndre Yedlin put the ball into the middle low and with pace, and Perez ran in and just swept the ball home past Petr Cech at his near post. And Newcastle took the lead for the first time in the match in the 68th minute when Matt Ritchie gave the Magpies the lead. Nacho Monreal made a complete mess of a clearance as he headed it straight up into the air. Islam Slimani headed it towards Ayoze Perez. Perez opted to flick it behind him into the path of Ritchie, who took a touch before firing beyond Petr Cech. And that's how the game ended, with Newcastle almost guaranteeing their Premier League survival with their 4th straight Premier League win. Newcastle fought hard in this match, defending well and keeping Arsenal out of their box once they ensured the lead. Jonjo Shelvey kept on pinging balls over the top like it was no one's business, but the Arsenal players just let him do it and failed to close him down on multiple occasions. Arsenal did look good at the back for a bit, but the defender for the second goal, shoddy at best, and the meme of Petr Cech always conceding at his near post well and truly lives on. Arsenal are just opening the door for Burnley to overtake them, as they're only 2 points above them now, and another loss away from home means that they are still to pick up a point away from the Emirates all year, and they are the only team in Europe's top 4 leagues that haven't won away from home this year. And we move on to Burnley versus Leicester. Burnley took the lead only 5 minutes into the match when Kiwi striker Chris Wood got the goal. It was the first serious attack of the game as Ashley Barnes played in Chris Wood. His initial effort was saved by Kasper Schmeichel, but the keeper couldn't hold it, and Wood buried the rebound against his former club. And 2 minutes later, Burnley doubled their lead when defender Kevin Long got his first Premier League goal. Came from a corner that Johan Gudmundsson swung into the middle. Kasper Schmeichel comes for it but then decides to go back, and that just allowed Kevin Long to outjump his man and power his header home. But Leicester got to go back in the 70th minute when Jamie Vardy made it 2-1. Came as substitute Kelechi Iheanacho played a clever pass inside the box to Vardy, and the English forward finished from a tight angle for his 17th league goal of the season. And as the game ended for the second game in a row, a late Vardy goal just ended up being a consolation. The one team you don't want to go down too early is Burnley, because they can shut up shop with the best of them. They hit Leicester with an early double, and that was them. Leicester did come alive in the final 10 minutes, but it was too little too late as Burnley's Europa League dreams live on. And we move on to Swansea versus Everton. Swansea had the better chances in the first half and pretty much had Everton pinned back for most of the first half as well, but it was Everton who took the lead 5 minutes before half time thanks to an own goal. Completely against the run of play as a few shots were being fired towards the Swansea goal, but Lassie's shot was undealt with. They tried to clear a Guy's shot, but Carl Norton was in the wrong place at the wrong time as it ricocheted off of the Swansea man and into the back of his own net before the Swansea players could deal with it. But Swansea leveled the game up in the 71st minute when their top goal scorer Jordan Ayew got the goal. It had been coming as Tom Carroll either scuffed the shot horribly or played the ball of his life. I'm going to go with the first one. Absolutely scuffed the shot. That was probably headed out for a throw-in, but it landed perfectly at the feet of Ayew. The striker touched it down before finishing from just inside the box. And as the game ended, Swansea will look at the positive in that they didn't lose, but they really should have won this one. They had plenty of chances and were the better side for most of the game. However, after an unfortunate own goal, they ended up having to grab the equaliser. Everton, they will be the happier of the two teams as Swansea will have nightmares about some of the chances they wasted. And we move on to West Ham versus Stoke. It was a quiet game last night at the London Stadium, but the game kicked up a notch in the final 10 minutes, and it started when Stoke took the lead through substitute Peter Crouch. Bad mistake from Joe Hart, who, where have I heard that before, as a shot by Xherdan Shaqiri was basically straight at him, but all he could do was parry it straight into the path of Peter Crouch, who smashed home from 6 yards out to become Stoke's top goal scorer in the Premier League with 44 goals. I'd love to know how many of those were from the bench. But West Ham levelled the game up in the 90th minute through their substitute, Andy Carroll. It was his first game since January after recovering from injury, and it was a nice finish as well as Aaron Cresswell played it into the feet of Carroll and he stroked the ball past Jack Butland. And as the game ended, and West Ham will feel hard done by because they had the ball in the net 4 times, but only one of those counted. 2 were offside, both were the right call for me, and the other one was for a handball by Andy Carroll, but there was nothing that he could do. He couldn't move his arm out of the way, and it also looked like he was pushed in the back, which also moved him forward and into the ball. That's just not a handball. It's just not. Some big let-offs for Stoke, who looked like they were going to pick up a massive win, but in the end, they will have to settle for a point. And we move on to Manchester United versus West Brom. Proper boring game this. Quite shocking that West Brom were on top for most of the game. Man United had some spells, but they rarely challenged the West Brom goal, apart from once that I can remember, when Ben Foster made a world-class save to deny Lukaku. But West Brom took the lead in the 72nd minute when Jay Rodriguez gave Manchester City the title. Typical West Brom goal, a corner, Nemanja Matic failed to clear, and Jay Rodriguez headed home from close range. And as the game ended, spineless performance from Man United. They were poor going forward, and the amount of times they gave the ball away in the middle of the pitch was embarrassing. Who'd have thought that the game that decided the Premier League title would have involved a West Brom win? I've already said what I feel about Man City in their game, but it's quite the opposite for United. They're second, but mainly because they play a boring style of football. Oh my god. Park the bus against teams that they should be running over with the bus. West Brom being one of them. Man United fans are, however, growing restless with their boss following this embarrassing display, let's just be honest, where they hand-delivered the titles to their rivals, and West Brom pick up the biggest win of their season. And finally, we've got Huddersfield versus Watford. Nothing happened in this match, and I mean nothing. From the starting whistle, pretty much end-to-end stuff, but neither teams were able to make any chances. Huddersfield didn't have a shot on target until the 90th minute. But with that shot, they scored and took the lead through substitute Tom Ince. Watford gave the ball away, and that allowed Huddersfield to break as a ball was put into the box. It was laid off by Zanka through the legs of a Watford defender to Tom Ince, and he smashed home from close range. And as the game ended, it was a game that lacked quality, but Huddersfield won't care about that, as Huddersfield probably secured their Premier League spot for next season. Like I said, not a pretty game, hardly any chances for either team, as Huddersfield had more shots, but like I mentioned in the goal, they failed to register one on target. But when they did, they made it count as they picked up a vital 3 points. So that's all the game over for this time. Before we go, let's take a look at the Premier League table and top goal scorers, starting off with the Premier League table. Down with top 5, and as you can see, Man City are at the top, and it's finally official that no one is catching them following their win over Tottenham. Second place, Man United had a big part to play in the title win, as their loss to West Brom is what gave Man City the title. Liverpool are third after a comfortable win over Bournemouth. Tottenham are fourth after they lost to Man City. Chelsea make up the top 5 after they came from behind to win at Southampton. Moving on to the bottom 5, and West Brom is still at the bottom, but they have reduced the gap following a huge win at Old Trafford. Stoke are 19th after they drew with West Ham. Southampton make up the relegation zone after throwing away a 2-goal lead against Chelsea. Swansea is 17th after drawing with Everton. Everton, and Crystal Palace make up the bottom 5 after a thrilling win over Brighton. Moving on to the top goal scorers, and as you can see, Mohamed Salah became the first African player to score 30 league goals in a Premier League season, as his goal against Bournemouth took him to 30 goals and 9 assists. Harry Kane couldn't steal any goals this week, so he stayed on 25 goals and 2 assists. Sergio Aguero didn't score against Tottenham, so he stayed on 21 goals and 6 assists. Raheem Sterling got a goal at Wembley, so he moved to 17 goals and 8 assists. And Jamie Vardy makes up the top 5 after a goal against Burnley took him to 17 goals and 1 assist. Right, so that's all I've got for you this time. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you're new, and I'll be back on Friday for the next episode of the Premier League review. Yes, double episode this week because there were games on tonight, tomorrow and Thursday. Mainly teams catching up with games that they were rearranged, probably due to FALD Cup or something. So I will cover those on Friday. Track the roll, mate. Friday, there we go. If you want to follow my personal Twitter, link is in the description. If you want to follow us on Twitter to stay up to date about when we go live or upload a video, you can. The link to that is in the description as well, or it's at portionofsport_. If you missed last episode, that'll be popping onto your screen about now, along with a link to the channel so you can subscribe. But anyway, thanks for watching. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you are new. I've been Mark from A Portion of Sport, and I will see you soon.